got the jump on you there. Member for Noosa.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak briefly on the Disability Services and Other Legislation, NDIS, Amendment Bill 2019, which reflects the changing roles and responsibilities of the National Disability Insurance Agency, NDIA, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS, Commission and the Queensland Government once Queensland becomes a participating jurisdiction of the scheme from the 1st of July 2019. The amendments provide clarity on the Queensland Government's reduced role in funding disability services at full scheme and its retention of a limited amount of quality assurances and safeguard functions for registered NDIS providers. Deputy Speaker, the bill has been well supported by frontliners, including service providers, advocacy groups, disability networks and statutory authorities, and this support extended to the continuation of the current safeguards for worker screening under the yellow and blue card systems and the expansion of the exclusion of persons qualified to hold a yellow card. It is positive to see within the additional amendments presented that offences, including manslaughter, have been added to the serious offences, as well the elevation of current serious offences to new disqualifying offences, with a transition and new framework to accommodate these. As we have heard, Queensland will retain its framework in relation to the authorisation of restrictive practices designed to safeguard the rights of people with an intellectual or cognitive disability who have challenging behaviour, and ensure that the use of restrictive practices are appropriately regulated and monitored with a view to eliminating and reducing their use. Deputy Speaker, it is also good to see that the Department of Communities, Disability Services and Seniors has commenced work with other states and territories, the Department of Social Services and the NDIS Commission to develop nationally consistent minimum standards for behaviour support. There have been concerns raised from submitters as to the narrowing of the definition of death in care and visitation for all people receiving supports under the NDIS in Queensland, and it is important to have the flexibility to change this definition if it proves unworkable in practice into the future. Deputy Speaker, while the role of the Queensland Government in funding disability supports will be reduced with the implementation of the NDIS, the concerns of disability service providers and the difficulties they face in accessing funds for operational service provision needs to be acknowledged and monitored. As well, from what has been experienced within my own electorate by the daily calls on numerous shortfalls from parents and carers, we must also acknowledge that as much as the NDIS seeks to improve the lives of participants, there are unresolved issues. These include the capacity for community organisations and sporting bodies to accommodate special needs, the costs involved for disability providers for audits, infrastructure and transport that are not factored into the support rates or plans, and ultimately the potential loss to participants should our organisations falter. These have been family for so many years, and if lost, will be one of the greatest failings of the scheme. As mentioned by the member for Mount Ommaney, we thank the Minister for responding to our concerns regarding the taxi subsidy scheme, with the government making provision for funding for the next 12 months. However, query what will happen when this ends. My sincere thanks are extended to Queensland's all abilities, service providers and their volunteers for their tireless work and advocacy on behalf of people within their care and their families. This has been the most difficult of transitions, and your resilience, commitment and ongoing fundraising to deliver the very best to our all-abilities sector is inspirational. My thanks to the committee and departments for your hard work and to the submitters in your efforts to deliver the best outcomes through these amendments, and I commend and support this bill to the House. Thank you.
Mr Deputy Speaker.
I call the member for Toowoomba South.